Have you ever wondered how your favorite streaming service just seems to read your mind? Or, how your email magically knows what's junk and what's not? Well, that's not magic. It's machine learning. And believe it or not, it is quietly running the world all around us. Okay, let's dive into exactly how this whole thing works. I mean, really think about it for a second. You finish binging a show and bam, Netflix just serves up your next obsession like it's no big deal. How in the world does it know? Or what about your email inbox? How does it sift through hundreds, maybe thousands of messages to flag the one you're actually waiting for? Well, the secret sauce in all of this, the thing that makes it all possible, is machine learning. So let's pull back the curtain a little bit. What exactly is this powerful technology? At its heart, it all boils down to a pretty revolutionary idea about teaching computers.
Now, the most important phrase there is without being explicitly programmed. See, in the old days, a programmer had to sit down and write code for every single possible thing a computer might have to do. It was painstaking. But with machine learning, it's different. We can just feed a computer a mountain of data and let it figure out the rules for itself, kind of like how we learn from our own experiences.
I know that might still sound a little abstract, so let's make it really, really concrete. Let's break it down with a simple story about learning from patterns.
Okay, so let's meet Paul. Paul loves music, but he has a very specific vibe he's going for. And every single song he's ever liked or disliked has left behind this little digital footprint, right? And all those footprints together create a pattern that a machine can actually learn from.
So just look at Paul's listening history here. A really clear pattern starts to emerge, doesn't it? He's all about songs that have a fast tempo and a soaring intensity. Anything else? Yeah, it just doesn't really work for him. This right here, this little table, this is the experience that we're going to feed our computer.
All right, so based on that pattern, what do you think? It seems pretty obvious he's going to like it, right? Of course he will. And that is exactly what a machine learning model does. It looks at all the past data to make a really good guess about something new. See? You just thought like a machine.
Now, of course, that was a super simple example, but it gets the core idea across perfectly. In the real world, things get way more interesting. Machines actually learn in a few different and really powerful ways. So let's break down the three main types. First up, you've got supervised learning. The best way to think about this is like studying for a test with flashcards when the answers are already on the back. The machine gets a whole bunch of data that's already been labeled with the right answers, and its job is to figure out the connection. But what if you don't have all the answers? Well, that's where unsupervised learning comes in. This is more like being handed a giant mixed-up bag of coins from all over the world. There are no labels. The machine has to find the hidden patterns and sort everything into groups all by itself.
To give you a great example of supervised learning, let's stick with those coins. Imagine you teach the machine that coins weighing 7 grams are euros and coins weighing 3 grams are rupees. You show it thousands of examples of this labeled data. Pretty soon, it gets so good that it can predict the currency of a brand new coin just by weighing it.
Okay, now for unsupervised learning. Imagine you have a big spreadsheet full of stats for cricket players, but you have no idea what their positions are. An algorithm can just dive into all that unlabeled data and find natural groupings. It might notice a cluster of players with high runs and low wickets, and another with low runs and high wickets. And without ever being told, it's basically figured out the difference between batsmen and bowlers. The third type is a totally different beast, reinforcement learning. This is all about learning through trial and error. You have an agent, think of it like a piece of software, and it's trying to figure things out. It gets rewarded with digital points for good moves and gets penalties for bad ones. It's constantly just trying to maximize its score. It's kind of like training a puppy with treats. A self-driving car is the perfect example of this. The car is our agent. It tries an action. Let's say it turns left. The environment responds, no crash. Fantastic. So the car gets a little reward, a positive point. Now, imagine this happening millions and millions of times. Through all those tiny feedback loops, it learns the incredibly complex rules of driving safely. All right, so we've covered the how, but where is this technology actually showing up in our day-to-day lives? Well, the short answer is pretty much everywhere. Let's just run through a few examples. Honestly, you're using machine learning all day long, and you probably don't even think about it. That spam filter in your email? That's ML. Unlocking your phone with your face? ML. Chatting with Siri or Alexa? You guessed it, ML. And of course, those recommendations on Netflix and Amazon that are just a little too good. Even your spell check is constantly learning from huge amounts of text. But it goes way beyond just convenience. Machine learning is also working behind the scenes in some incredibly important ways. Banks use it to spot fraudulent credit card charges in the blink of an eye. It's helping doctors analyze medical scans with superhuman accuracy. And, yep, that surge pricing on your favorite ride-sharing app, that's a machine learning model balancing supply and demand in real time. Now, for any of this to actually work, for all three types of learning, you need one absolutely crucial ingredient, and that's data. You can think of it as the fuel that powers the entire machine learning engine. Without data, the most powerful algorithm in the world is, well, it's useless. There's this classic saying in computer science, you've probably heard it, garbage in, garbage out. And it means exactly what it sounds like. The quality of what the machine learns is completely dependent on the quality of the data you give it. If you feed it messy, biased, or just plain bad data, you're going to get useless results. Simple as that. So after all that training on all that high-quality data, what's the end result? What's the grand prize? You get what's called a model. And you can just think of it as the trained brain, all ready to be put to work. It's basically a little file, a little prediction machine that can take in new information and make a smart guess based on everything it's learned. So we've covered what machine learning is, how it works, and where you can find it, basically everywhere. And that brings us to the future. And one last really important thought I want to leave you with. Look, we are at this incredible moment in history. The power of these learning algorithms is just exploding, and they have the potential to help us solve some of the biggest challenges humanity has ever faced. The question isn't really, can we teach machines anymore? It's what should we teach them? The future is really in our hands. So I'll leave you with this. What problems do you think are the most important for them to help us solve?